Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV, and first, before I go to lunch, I wanted to give you guys the Soprano video. Usually on Fridays we live stream the reviews. During the week we'll, do edited videos, but here, well, not really edited, just kind of putting clips together. But here it's going to be more of a live stream format. So we have the 70th episode, reaching another decade kind of milestone for the show, and this is the 5th of the season's show's 6th season. So yeah, we're kind of narrowing it down, kind of getting towards the end of the series. We have about 10 episodes left, I think. And obviously, Steve Buscemi has a hand in the directing, even though he's not even a character in the show anymore. So that's kind of cool. There's a couple new characters that we kind of meet here. Kind of learning a bit more about Vito Spadafori, who makes a big highlight kind of at the end of the episode and leaves a lot of questions. So we're just going to kind of talk about what happened and then kind of have a bit of a discussion afterwards. This will probably only take like 10 minutes. So a judge decides Junior's mental condition has deteriorated to the level where he can be held in a private psychiatric facility while awaiting his retrial. So they kind of have an excuse. They have a reason, kind of have some reasoning for, they can, I don't know what that word is called, make an excuse for why he shot Tony. So Tony does not want to see or hear of his uncle again. He doesn't he doesn't care about the medical condition that his uncle has or anything. It's just, I don't want to talk to this guy ever again. So Carmela quickly fetches a newspaper with a report about Junior's cushy psych lockup, and throws that section in the trash before Tony can see it. She doesn't want that negative energy kind of spreading around. Tony's trying to kind of recover from him being in a coma, and she doesn't want him to deal with that. She doesn't want him to read up on that stuff. So, yeah, obviously being a good wife and trying to defuse the situation. So, at the bada bing, Ahmed and Muhammad ask Chris about getting some Tech 9 semi-automatic weapons for their family troubles. Which I don't know what the hell that even means. That was a super confusing moment on the show. Dealing with the phone call, Chris does not answer. So obviously, Ahmed and Muhammad, they were introduced a couple episodes earlier, and I kind of assumed they were going to play a little bit of a role this season, and they are probably going to start kind of being some henchmen for Christopher, who's now a capo, and now he has to have kind of some underlings like he once was. So Johnny Sack is granted a 6-hour strictly controlled release from prison in order to attend his daughter Allegra's wedding. All extra security expenses to be borne by him, which is kind of fucked up. But again, it was his idea to kind of get out of prison. He kind of requested that. That's what happened at the beginning of the episode. They were in court and they allowed him to go. So at the wedding, Tony collapses, bending down to remove his shoes at the request of U.S. Marshals. They have high security units. This is what Johnny paid for, so they can't really be mad at the authorities. This is something, Johnny wanted to ensure safety, so he bought all the security, has bag checks and stuff at the doors, so no one comes in with a piece and takes him out. So yeah, obviously Tony is limited with his movements. He's still recovering, so he kind of collapsed there, kind of got winded. So during the reception, he talks to Johnny for the first time since his arrest, and they have to kind of make it look not so suspicious. So he's acting like he's talking about other family members of Johnny's, like his father and his aunts and stuff. So, through Phil, Tony has received Johnny's request to take care of killing New York capo Rusty Milio, who Johnny fears may trigger another power struggle within the Lupertazzi family. Tony has refused. He doesn't want to deal with Johnny's dirty work anymore, and it's super understandable why he wouldn't want to do that. But they're kind of frustrated with him because this is where he draws a line, I guess. Rusty Milio is a guy that's trying to kind of finesse some power out of the mafia here. So, as a personal favor, Johnny himself asked Tony to do it. Just do it for me, I don't want to keep sending henchmen out to be the messenger here. Don't kill the messenger. I want to personally tell you go do this because it's important to me. But watched by U.S. Marshals, they join Johnny's aged relatives, either deaf or senile, at a large table and, pretending to speak to them, discuss the situation kind of obliquely, kind of widely. Again, you have to be careful with all these authorities kind of looming around. Yeah. So, yeah, they're obviously old. They're it's kind of a funny moment in the show because they're what did he say? What did he say? And he's not talking to them. It's really funny. So Tony reluctantly agrees, like, yeah, I'll do it for you. You know, you're having a tough time already. You're already incarcerated. And obviously, Tony has felt the guilt over the years with a guy like Tony B even being incarcerated as well. So yeah, it's really interesting there. So shortly after, he suggests to Christopher that a contact from Italy should be brought to kill Rusty and leave the country the same day. So they're trying to kind of fetch someone from a different country. So if the authorities kind of catch wind of this, they're not going to like be able to detain anyone. They're not going to be able to attack anyone in the U.S. So Johnny's happiness at the wedding is cut short when the marshals tell him his time is up. He's like, what? You know, I'm trying to enjoy this moment with my daughter here, and it's understandable, you know, rules are rules, but come on, man. I think it was super messed up, and I support, like, Johnny and all them by saying, like, the marshals really kind of are assholes for this, and very cold and remorseless. So he cries in front of the guests as marshals haul him away. His wife Jenny faints, and she's pretty overweight, obviously still. She's like having like this weight loss journey or something. So that was kind of concerning as well. Like we don't know what's going to happen to her. Led by Phil, the Lupertazzi's and Tony's crew speak of their loss of respect for Tony, which is fucking retarded. Like, I know, like, the Mafia has these super strong, like, masculine, like, prideful kind of rules, but, like, he cried because he was getting taken away by marshals. Well, this is one of the most important days of his life, his daughter's wedding. Like, come on, man. Only Tony stands up for him. And yeah, Tony is the boss here. He understands his struggle. He understands all the weight, all the responsibility kind of put on Johnny here. So yeah, obviously he can relate. So yeah, at home later that night, Vito tells his wife he is heading out to make collections, but instead goes to a gay club. We've known for a while that Vito is homosexual. He sucked a guy off in the parking lot at one of their like construction sites. We remember with the whole Finn thing and their awkward tensions, and Finn kind of had a feeling about this. But dancing in a leather fetish garb, he is spotted by two New York associates actually making collections. How ironic is that at that club? So yeah, they find him. They find out he has these homosexual qualities to him, and now Vito is feeling suicidal and feels like this is like his last straw here. Although Vito tries to pass it off as a joke, they call him the F slur and leave. Obviously, that wouldn't be acceptable today, but yeah, Vito collects a gun and some cash from home and checks into a motel. So we know what that means. He's probably going to kill himself. So after an explanatory phone call to Silvio, he makes no further contact with anyone and does not return calls from Tony. So obviously the concern is raised for this guy. So Tony, he kind of returns to work with a new bodyguard and driver, Perry Annunziata, a muscular, hot-headed young man who is taken up this role of being his driver and is like his bodyguard, kind of like what Furio was a season ago or so. Maybe 2 seasons now. So Tony shows his scar to his crew and begins to bore them, describing his medical procedures. Like he's been super nerdy. Like being in the hospital has been a very interesting experience for Tony here. So he tells Dr. Melfi that they are giving him certain looks and are beginning to question his judgment, which is kind of messed up, and that's like the last thing you want to happen as the boss of a mafia, of a mob, of a crime family, I guess you could say. So she advises him to act as if you are not feeling vulnerable. Like, you don't want to show them, like, your weakness. You don't want to give in. Like, she knows, like, he's an alpha male, and she can kind of understand that at this point. Alpha male. That's a really stupid term, but that's what she uses in the episode. So Tony asserts himself through an act of unpredictable violence. Finding a pretext, he starts a one-sided fight with Perry that ends with Perry bleeding on the floor and Tony walking away seemingly unscathed. And this guy's a hothead. This is a strong guy. And he doesn't give in at first. He's not like right in Tony's face at first, but when Tony hits him, he's pretty pissed about it. He tries to give a fight, and Tony beats him up, which is kind of a crazy kind of turn of events to happen here. You know, like, and it seemed like no reason. I guess he slammed the refrigerator door. That seemed a little ridiculous, but Tony wants to assert some dominance. He wants to make sure that he is the alpha and he has no weaknesses in his game. So, however, when he retreats to the bathroom, he vomits blood. So obviously he is super weak. He just got out of a damn coma, for Christ's sake. Laying on the bathroom sink, he looks at himself in the mirror and smiles. Then he vomits again. He like looks in the mirror, smiles, kind of has this like Joker type of moment. Obviously, there's a couple of new characters. Perry Annunziata, who's Tony's new driver and bodyguard. He'll obviously be gifted some storylines here for the foreseeable future. And then we meet Spatafor's kids, Vito Spatafor Jr., who's his young son, and Francesca Spatafor, who is his daughter. So we kind of meet more of Vito Spatafor's family, but I don't know if he's going to be around much longer. I think he pulled the trigger. He couldn't stand the shame that came with being a gay man in the mafia. And obviously, if anyone finds out you're gay in the mafia, you'd either be publicly executed, or not publicly executed, good lord, there's authorities around. You'd probably be shunned. You'd probably be shut off connections. I don't think they'd kill you, because that seems a little brash. That seems a little extreme, but they definitely cut ties with you. And, yeah. So obviously, he doesn't show his, sexuality at work. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens to Vito Spatafori. It's going to be interesting to see Tony's full return as the boss, honestly. That's going to be cool. Johnny Sack has a whole situation. They might kill Rusty Milio. I'm sure they're going to at some point. So there's a lot of things kind of boiling, kind of brewing here as we transition through this season. So that's it. I'm going to leave here in about 5 minutes to go get some lunch, go to class, do that stuff. We're going to be releasing a gameplay on the Pro Pass Paulo Banchero tomorrow, so tune in for that. J. Cole surprise album as well. I forgot to kind of mention that here, but we are going to be doing I'm not going to do a full-on reaction. We're going to do a little review on Sunday. Not that because I don't think J. Cole's a good